Hey guys, today I'm making some coasters and I'm going to take you step by step on how I do that. First, you want to warp your loom. I made this loom out of a picture frame and I have another video for that if you want to check that out. To warp your loom, you want to apply even pressure for each string up and down. I'm using a heddle bar here and I am just going through each notch from left to right. I want a total of 16 strings. It is an even number and it is a set of 4, which I feel like works well for a lot of patterns. You can go back and even out all your strings. I did that off camera and just tied off, and here you can see I'm happy with my tension. You can kind of see the first coaster down there, and I'm going to be replicating that in different colors here for the second one. To start this second coaster, I am doing twinning header, and essentially I just took a string, folded it in half, and every other string I'm going behind one of my warp strings. It kind of makes this twisty braid look when you go back and forth. Twinning header helps you even out the space between each of your warp strings. A lot of weaving doesn't necessarily use this technique, but with a pattern, I feel like it is pretty important to have a uniformed look, so I do like to start off with the twinning header. Now I'm just coming back the other way with the twinning header, making sure to basically just do the opposite of what I did last time, and this will create the second half of that braid. Getting into the weaving, I am adjusting my heddle bar so that half the strings are in front and I can just easily get my needle through. Making sure to get a good hump over the strings so that the tension stays as wide as the whole project and doesn't bow in over the course of the project. And just flipping the heddle bar to bring the other strings forward. I'm just going to do that back and forth. I did 8 rows of the base color. That is 16 back and forth, but if you count on one warp string, it is 8 tall. Coming in with my color, tying it off on the 5th string. With my new color, I am trying to keep the string uniform, so not miss any warp strings, and create a gap in the design. And since it's such a small space, I'm not using my comb to beat the rows down. And just making sure that each side of my coaster has 4 strings that are free. For this pattern, I am going 4 rows tall before decreasing in size for this triangular shape. So I came back on my 4th row to complete that 4th row, and then just skipped that beginning string, and I'm working another 4 rows, and then I'll do the same thing one more time before changing up the shape. Now I'm done with this color. I'm not going to tie it off because I'm going to use that string some more in a little bit. So I'm just putting it towards the back, and I'm picking up my cream color again. I'm filling in the shape with the cream, and then I will continue with the turquoise coloring. So for each row, I am doing four rows for each of the levels on this triangle shape. So once I reach 4, I will come back, make sure I complete that 4th row, and then on the 5th row, I will go into the next level of the triangle shape. So completing that 4th row. See, they're even, and then going an extra string over. Just going to do that all the way to the top of my current shape on both sides so that it's completely even. I don't need this second string from the twinning header, so before I go any further in my project, I'm just tucking that in and trimming it up. Fill in the shape on the other side. I am tying on a string, and I do like working left to right, so I'm starting that string next to the shape and not on the end. I lost my string, or ran out of string there, so I added on more string using the weaver's knot. I do have a video for a more detailed tutorial on that. Finishing up this side, I kind of decided that I was only going to stop the cream color right there. You'll see I do change my mind about that later because it actually doesn't work out. So when you do it, go all the way towards the color. But I did pick up my color again, and I'm just weaving in the next level of the shape. So all but 2 strings on the very ends, and then I'm going to do 4 rows before decreasing in the shape. See right there, I decided that, yep, I do need to get the cream all the way in. Pretty easy fix. Then I was more happy with how it was going, so just continued on. I'm gonna put a little cream square right here in the middle, and it's 4 wide, and it will be 12 rows tall. Done with this shape and color, so I am weaving in my end and trimming off. Got the left side of the shape filled in, so now I'm working on the right side. I'm going to make it match. With both sides even around that cream square, I'm able to use one string all the way across. I need to get my needle and string to the middle 4 warp strings. I didn't really want to tie off and then tie back on, so I'm weaving behind the coaster up and down until I can get to the middle 4 strings to continue weaving. Before I go further with the turquoise shape, I'm going to fill in with all the cream. Since turquoise is going from narrow to wide at this point, it is easier, in my opinion, if the cream is filled in before adding turquoise. I am tying off right here. The way the warp strings are, if I tried to get my string back to this point, there would be gaps in the coloring, so I just tied off and restarted to make it more seamless. The rest of the pattern is pretty repetitive from steps we did earlier. You just want to fill in the rest of the shape. The last bit of cream is 8 rows. Everything else is 4-row increments. And the very end, you do a hem stitch. Really certain I do have a video for that as well. So I'm just getting everything off the loom right now and gonna finish this up. These scissors were the worst. I ended up throwing these away after this project. But, yeah, so I just folded everything in half and am cutting so that the fringe is like roughly the same length. For a finishing touch and to keep everything in place, I am just tying some knots with 2 strings at a time on each side of the coaster. Here's the finished product. I really hope you like it. Please like, follow, share, all that great jazz. See you next time.